Hello, everyone. Today I am going to be connecting and creating a project with this API called Top Instagram Hashtags. If you haven't seen videos of mine before where I've talked about this, I'll just tell you now that this site is so cool because it has hundreds, apparently thousands of different APIs that you can connect with. And really, if you're looking for any sort of project to do or looking to be inspired, just looking for ideas, when I was in school, we had to create a project generally with one or two APIs. And, we were in a team. And so a lot of times we would go to this site and just look for something and see what resonated. And actually, I was inspired to do this while going through it and seeing what APIs were available. And I'm not super big into social media, but one of my best friends is, and kind of talked to her about the APIs and like the capabilities and asked her what would be beneficial for her, and she said that getting the hashtags would be very beneficial to see what's trending and to be able to put in a specific topic and get the trending hashtags back for that, because currently she will go through and see kind of what the top videos are and what the hashtags are that they're using. And I thought, what an easy way for me just to find an API like this that's perfect. This one in particular, I mean, it's in the name, so I knew it was going to be good, but this one in particular has these different endpoints, and this one here gets all the new hashtags, which could be good for her to see what is trending right now, and then getting hashtags based on a specific topic. So I'm going to just create something really simple for her. It's not going to be pretty, but I want there to be a site for her to be able to go to get those new hashtags and to get the top hashtags based on whatever topics. So we are going to build that today. So for the tutorial, I don't want to expose my API key, and you can see here in the documentation that it does show the API key, and I'm going to very poorly cover it up with something in my editing tools, but eventually we're going to get this going live so that she can use it from her own home. So we will then put this API key in a env file that Node will run. So I will show you kind of both ways of how we're going to do that. As of right now, I have it in my local storage as API key, and I'm pulling it out here. So it will not be exposed. And then later, when we put it in an env file, it won't be exposed when I upload the code as well. So just remember, if you are writing, if you're connecting to any API, you don't want to put this in your code and expose it. I'm using a free subscription, but still anyone can get a hold of it and get me kicked off of it. And so just something to remember. So yeah, I guess let's get started. And the first thing that I'm going to do is just get these hashtags working, make sure that the endpoints are working, and see how the data comes back to me, and then go from there and see how I can use it. So the first one, I'm going to just do get new hashtags. So the first one I'm going to do is the get new hashtags, and in the documentation it gives me Axios, but I typically use fetch, especially for this tutorial. I am going to do everything browser based for now, and fetch allows me to do that. So I will Google fetch API call, and we're going to do everything because this is so basic and we can use vanilla JavaScript. I don't have to do anything complicated like I guess, overly complicated at the moment, like using a framework like React. So we'll just do a basic API call in JavaScript, and I'm gonna have to pass in some headers, but I'll just copy this now and change this to get new hashtags. And I'll go back to my documentation. I will copy the URL, get rid of this example, and we're gonna have to pass in some headers so I can look in the documentation and see that the way to do that is in this fetch. You'll pass in the URL, and then as the second argument, we will pass in our headers, and it will look like this. So going back to that, I'll just do comma and open brackets. Oh, why does it look like that? Comma after, and then go ahead and just copy. Okay, there we go. Now I'll just do comma, and then I'll do my params there. Okay, let's just close that for now. And let's just make sure that this works. I'm going to just immediately call this so that when that page loads, it will console log my data. So I hit refresh and patiently wait. Okay, so status 200. And the message is get all data of new hashtags, and the data is an array of 100 tags. So that's working properly. I don't quite understand any of these tags, but maybe it means something. Parrots are awesome. Okay. So the way to access this is going to be JSON data here, dot data, and it's an array. So, sorry, row is an array, data.row. Ooh, okay. Let's just see what the first one is. And then we're gonna want to grab, I think we just want the tag. I don't know what total is. Have to look back in the documentation to see what that is. Maybe that's how many people have used that tag. I'm not sure. But let's just make sure that we're grabbing that data properly. And it should just log one thing for me. Okay, so that's how we grab it. And then we're gonna want all 100 to show, so we'll end up doing a for each on that. But at least we know how to properly grab it. I'll just console log that out for now. And let's try to get the other one. Let's try to get the other hashtag. Okay, we'll bring this back. All right, so let's just comment that out now, and I'm gonna copy this whole thing, and I'll do get hashtag by, what do we say? By topic? By topic. Sounds good. Naming is hard. Okay, and let's copy that. Oops. That URL is different. Oh, yeah, you can see this is new hashtags and this is just hashtags. Hold on. This is the hashtag that we want because you search it by that. Okay, so we'll actually know that we'll just for now hard code love in to see what comes up, and then later we will make this into a search, and whatever we put in the search we'll put here instead of love. And everything else is the same. Let's get rid of that, and we'll try this. We'll see what this looks like. Get hashtag by topic. All right. Since we're calling it automatically or immediately, it should show. Maybe not. Let's just log this out for now and try again. Oh, I'm not logging it. I'm not console logging it. Silly me. Okay. Now it'll work. Okay, let's see. Endpoint hashtags love does not exist. Maybe it's hashtag. Maybe I didn't see that properly. Let's look again. Oops, we don't need any of these. It's hashtag. That's my fault. Okay, we'll try again. Great debugging live, okay? So let's see what the best love hashtags are. What is this? Grow your Instagram using the most popular love hashtags. Second most like hashtags. Oh, this is... Let me make this bigger. Okay, so these are the top 30 hashtags. Love, Instagood, like. Best number 2, second most liked. Okay. Well, I think there's a place for all of these. Related. Love yourself. Oh, there's so much that we can do here. Okay. We got a lot with that one. We'll have to think through how to display that, because that's quite a bit. All right, so let's see. I guess now that we know these are working, let's start with the first one. That seems pretty easy. This is a little messy. Sorry, it slightly bothers me, but we'll make it work. Let's create a button for... Let's create a button for just new hashtags. Let me make sure I'm doing this right. Button, HTML. Button type button. You can just add that in there. Whoops. Button type button. Okay. And new hashtags. Let's make sure that shows up. Okay. Very beautiful. All right, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna do an on click in JavaScript, or on click event. Let's just sorry, let's do HTML. And this is how we're gonna add an on click, and we're gonna pass in the function name. So get new hashtag. And we'll do on click, get new hashtag, and we're gonna want that to show up. We're gonna want that to show up underneath. Okay, so doing this in vanilla JavaScript is gonna be a little rough. It's definitely much easier if you do it in a framework. But you know, sometimes you've got to go with the basics, and it's always good to know how things work under the hood. So we're gonna create a div here in our HTML that we're gonna want all of them to show up as a paragraph tag or a bullet point, you know, probably going to do a p tag. That might be the cleanest or the easiest. So we'll just have our div underneath our button. This is where we want everything to show up for. We're just going to give it a ID of new hashtags. And we're going to target this later, but in our get new hashtags, we're going to have to do a couple different things. So we're going to want to loop through JSON data.data.row. Let's go ahead and just put this in a variable now called, let's just call it our array of hashtags, just to be like cleaner. And I will, let's just look up how to do a for each in JavaScript. This one looks, yeah, this one looks good. Okay, so yeah, we will, we'll just do a, array of hashtags, just like here. We'll have the array name dot for each, and then whatever we want to name each of the elements that we go through. So element is a good name for it, or E or LM. So array of hashtags dot for each. I'll just do E, and then I'm going to do open brackets, and then within that div. So I'll scroll down here, and I can see in the JavaScript file, well, first in the HTML file, you can see here that they're trying to render in this div 1 here. So if you look through here, we're not going to create a function. We're just going to take what we need and put it inside our for each. So we can see here this line, create element. This one's creating a div. I'm going to copy this and paste it in here. Let's cancel that. I don't want to create a div though, right? I want to create a p tag. So I'm going to do new p tag, and the element I want to create is p. What you're going to pass in here is the HTML tag. So the p is just going to create that for us. Then it says, give it some new content, sorry. We don't need that. So this is hi there and greetings. We don't want it to. I mean, I guess if we wanted, we could put some title of these are the new hashtags, but I'm gonna skip that one. I don't need it. To add the text node to the newly created div, I am not going to append the child. I like to use inner HTML. So I'm going to just do new p tag dot inner HTML. And this one is, we're going to pass in, oh, that's not how you do that. Inner HTML is an equal sign because you're assigning it. So yeah, it's wherever you want it, dot inner HTML equals, and then in our case, it's going to be array of hashtags dot, or sorry, it's going to be e dot tag, right? So yeah, let's go back to here. New p tag dot inner HTML equals e for our element dot tag. And then now we need to tell it, now we need to connect it to our div. So we'll just copy this here. This one is adding the newly created element and contents into the DOM. So passing that in here. Current div, which it's not div1, it's new hashtags. Get element by ID, new hashtag, document body dot insert before, and then we're going to pass in our new p tag, not our new div, and yep, to the current div. So now I'm going to get rid of that, just clean that up a little bit. Now, when we go back here, it should have a list of all of our hashtags here, and there we go. Okay, so there's our new hashtags. Fly low. These are very interesting. But yeah, okay. So let's do another button. Actually, we're not going to want another button. We're going to want a input, because the next, let's just so we remember that this is the new hashtags endpoint, and then this one is going to be our top hashtags by topic, and this one we're going to want a search. All right, so we're going to do the same thing here. We don't need that anymore. Remember, that was calling that function immediately. Same for this one. We're going to connect it to a button. All right, so let's go back to our HTML and let's search for, we don't need any of these things. Let's search for input. Input HTML. And this one, yeah, we're going to want this one specifically. And then we're going to want a button. Type button. And that button will say search hashtags. Yeah, okay. Let's see what that looks like. We will do some CSS to get this over here, but we'll do that a little bit later. Let's just get this working for now. Let's not get distracted. We'll just console that out for now. And yeah, let's get this one working. So we're gonna want to test this endpoint out when we hit this button. Let's add this function name to the button. We'll do an on click and pass that function in. So when we hit this button, let's have it just console log. Ooh. That one's going to be tricky because we don't know what. Well, let's just do the whole object for now, and then we'll kind of dissect it and take out what we need. I'll just do one example here for this tutorial. So, okay, let's hit that button. Let's look again and see exactly what data we're trying to get to come out. Let's just say for the first part, let's do the same thing. Let's do data.best1 dot tags. Yeah, maybe related. I think related makes more sense. If you're searching for love, you're going to want to see what hashtags have love in it. Okay, so we'll do data.related. Okay. JSON.data.related data, and that's going to bring up the array. So by accessing, yeah, so then we'll do our for loop on this. So now I'll just test that really quick. Yeah, let's just test that really quick to make sure we're really zoned in on what it is that we want. And then we'll go ahead and we'll do our for loop again. Yep. Okay, so these are 20. So once we for loop through that, we're going to do dot tag again. Same thing. All right, so I'm gonna just copy this whole thing, but I'm going to be really mindful when I copy. I just want to make sure that I get rid of everything, you know, got to be really careful when you copy. So our array of hashtags here is going to be this instead. Okay, so we can go ahead and just get rid of that. And then, yep, array of hashtags, we're going to for each through that. Again, we're going to create let's have a new div under here. Top hashtags. That sounds good for now. Okay. So we're going to create a p tag again, and we'll just change this to top hashtags, and those should show up here, all 20 of those. Let's refresh. I think I refreshed. Okay. And hit search, and there we go. There's our top 20. Okay. So let's get these both working now, side by side, because yeah, as of now, they're kind of overlapping. Okay, so we're gonna want these to be side by side. So let's go ahead and just uncomment that out. Okay, and so now they're on top of each other. So we don't need to worry about that anymore. What we're gonna do is we're gonna use a flex container this flex method. It's a more intuitive way of aligning. Oh, let's just start over. Okay, cutting that out and starting over. All right, so let's go ahead and uncomment that out so that we can see, yeah, so we can see here that they're on top of each other. And what I'm gonna do is use flex, and let's look, flex box, CSS. We want them to be side by side. And oh, here it is. Okay, yeah, so this defines the flex container inline or block depending on the given value. So let's put those together in a div, and then we will make we'll make that div a flex box. So let's do div ID. We'll just name that flex for now. Or sorry, we'll just do searches. That's yeah, my naming. Whew. Let's close it in the appropriate spot. Let me just indent that. And then, okay, so now that both of our searches are wrapped in here, I'm going to, let me create a style.css file, and then let's link that, how to link CSS to HTML. And because this is an external one, I'm going to use this, stick that in the head, make sure that my href is going to style.css, and let's go back to flex. And so you can see that this is the container, and when I do flex, this will be my first search box, or my search button, and then my second one. So let's go in here and copy, well, I guess, yeah, I'll copy it. And it's not named container, it's named searches. Flex. All right, so it should apply to that. Let's see. There we go. Maybe put a little margin in there. Well, let's put some margin on this button here, just kind of like separate them out a little bit. What did we name that one? New hashtags. Let's do new hashtags. We'll do margin right. Let's give it, what does it look like that? Let's give it 20 pixels. Okay, cool. Not super pretty, but at least it works, right? Okay, so let's test both of these out. All right. New hashtags. Oh, wait, what happened? Failed to execute insert before. Did we change something in here? Huh. What happened? Does this one work? Okay, so let's copy that and see what that says. And The node before which the new node is to be inserted is not a child of the node. You have to call insert before on the parent element of the you're inserting before document.body is not the parent. It's far up. Okay, so I think because we added a new div, original, try using the parent node. This will insert directly. Okay, so the original div.parent node. Okay, so maybe if we add parent node to here. Whoops. That should work. Another thing that we could do, yeah, let's just do that for now. Could probably combine our divs, but that's a design thing that we could figure out later. But let's just try this to see if that works. Cross our fingers. No, cannot set property of null setting inner HTML. Okay. Made things tricky for us. Okay, let's see. So it also shows that we could do next sibling. So maybe we use this div and then we just do next sibling. So let's go back to our code and let's get rid of that failed attempt. And we will do insert into div dot next sibling, and instead of new hashtags we'll do searches, and then same for this one, and we'll just do current.div.next sibling. Searches, next sibling. Okay. So the next sibling would be, we'll have that div out, and then hopefully the next one will be this new hashtag. So let's give it a shot. New hashtags. There we go. Okay, well there was quite a bit of debugging going on there. Oh, because I had parent node in there still. Okay. So this should work. That was, there we go. Okay. Love, and then what happens here? Okay, it just gets rid of those. So, all right. Well, mujer positiva, positive woman. Yeah. So there's a lot of debugging going along there. Hopefully that's helpful, watching me debug, trying to figure this out. I by no means am an expert at vanilla JavaScript, just kind of going along with it, trying to figure it out. Okay, but the last thing that we need to do is we need to get rid of this love one here, right? We want to dynamically have that passed in here. So what we're going to need to do is grab the value here. Okay, so in get hashtags by topic, in our search, let's give this search an ID of search. So we're going to name it. And then we'll do how to get the value in a search. Sorry, I cannot type. Search input HTML. And let's see. All right, so this is how you're going to do it. You're going to do get element by ID, and then the ID dot value. We don't need that, but let's go ahead and put that in our HTML. Within here, we're going to need to do it above our call, right? So get element by ID. Let's chop out this because we don't need that. We just need the value of search, and we need to hold it in a variable. So let value equals that, and then we can just console.log and just see what the value says, just to make sure that's working. But let's comment that out because I don't want to keep making a bunch of calls to the API since it's a free subscription. And okay, so let's make sure this is working. All right, so whatever we put in here should show up here, which is great. So now instead, let's comment that back out. Now instead of having it be love, we can do whatever the value is. So I'm gonna just change this up here, do a little template literal, and then pass in the value. All right, easy. Let's test that out. Let's look up Ojai. Apparently, that's in my search history. Let's see what that gives us. Ojai pizza is my favorite pizza. Ugh, yum. Okay. Well, that works. All right, so there's a bit more to do on this, but I was at least able to show you how to get both of those endpoints working and getting them to show up on this site with inner HTML. Ran into some issues, did a little bit of debugging that I didn't expect, but again, I don't typically code with vanilla JavaScript, so I'm just kind of like going with the flow, things I didn't know, but hopefully watching me debug is helpful. And yeah, I'm gonna continue working on this. I'll have another part 2. We'll make it look a little bit better, and then we will upload it to GitHub and make the site go live. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for part 2. Thanks for following, watching along, going through this with me, being on this journey. I will talk to you guys soon.